Wow, that's such an intelligent answer, very all-encompassing as well. And I think it's just like a one size fits all for our listeners. Am I seeing your personality or your professional? I mean, your personality is definitely your behavioral and also professional and all your the aggregate, the cumulative and some total of your experiences because I'm seeing critical thinking, reflecting in what you're saying is not just about the surface things like, okay, just reactionary, but it looks like you're subjecting every of your thoughts to litmus tests of experience and you're being analytic and you're making comparative analysis or like end to end. I know you're not just a project manager in traditional project management, the waterfall as it is known. You're an IT project manager. And I mean, I'm blown off because I can see your thought process right now that you're not just like linear. You're just like making sure that you connect all the dots. Having said that, people have been here for so long. You mentioned about being stuck. I mean,
Mhm.
some people cannot move forward and they can go back.
Mhm.
And suddenly they'd be like, okay, they were enthusiastic to relocate. Perhaps they were
Mhm.
reacting to something, or it was just the best they could do at that time. And now they are
Mhm.
here. And I do hear the narrative that, oh, that God-forsaken, God forbid, God-forsaken Nigeria, that whatever whole country, sometimes people actually say what they hear other people say. There's a kind of
Mhm.
influence and they, like some kind of, especially toxic things are very easily contagious. And
Mhm.
then I hear, I mean, it's not different strokes for different strokes for different folks. But I hear
Mhm.
people in our generation, I'm also middle aged, and say, okay, they're never going back. That's not to say anybody should go back.
Mhm.
Because a lot of people have taken up the naturalization, they've taken up the citizenship of the countries. It's not just America.
Mhm.
Nigerians are spread everywhere in the world. They're
Mhm.
already
Mhm.
integrated, they are settled there.
Mhm. Mhm.
But some countries allow dual nationality that you are full
Mhm.
like you're fully American and fully Nigerian. Me, I'm fully American, I'm fully Nigerian, and a lot of people like that. But they
Mhm.
want it's just like people want to, you know, make an omelette without breaking the egg.
Mhm.
Are you getting me? They talk down Nigeria a lot.
Mhm.
What's your view? I would have asked for your advice, but you can put all of those together. What's your view on people who later realize that's not what they think? Some people stay back here for healthcare. Some people are going to stay
Mhm.
here because that's where they find their comfort zone. Some people are even
Mhm.
relocating, even despite all their affluence or whatever they are missing in Nigeria. But for
Mhm.
most people, what's your view about Jakwada? Let me put it that way, especially
Okay.
when the time comes.
Okay. So, one thing I would say to the Japa side before I go to Japada, Nigerians are not the only ones that Japa. Even Americans. I do have American friends who have actually left the country, who decided to move to different countries because they don't like what's going on in the US as well. But the percentage is very minimal, it's very little. So that's that. For Jakbada, people who think that first things first, the ones who say, oh, God forsaken, and the ones who say, I would never go back. I know one of my siblings is one of those who say I would never go back. One thing I would say is when I talk about glory song, that one is for sure. I don't care how good because let Jack Bill back home, if when we were growing up, I don't care how rich the guy next door was. Your father is still your father. You're
Absolutely.
not going to go live in someone else's house because they had better than you. You're not going to, I mean, yes, things may not be as good for you, but your parents are still your parents. Your home is still your home. You're still proud. I mean, till tomorrow, you have a house as Igbos, Yorubas, and different Delta people, different cultures within Nigeria who would get Omar Soya. I'm from here, I'm from this, and this, and that. If we can do that for being Igbo, being Yoruba, and all that, if we can do that, why can we not do that for being Nigerian? You understand that you can for what so yeah, èmi ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú, èmi ọmọ Ìbàdàn, èmi ọmọ this, èmi ọmọ that. Only Igbo, or all my Igbo people out there, or àwọn ọmọ Hausa. I mean, at the end of the day, we take pride in who we are.
Hmm.
Why can we not take pride in the country who birthed us? Because at the end of the day, was not on vacation or out of office when they decided to give birth to you through your DNA till your DNA from here till kingdom come. I have people here in the States who are looking for their source. They are looking for their roots. They're doing what's it called? There's the
It's still
through
DNA.
20, there's still, I know, but there's a specific one. There's a brand that do a lot of that for the 23andMe, and then you have a couple of other DNA ancestry, or that's the one I was looking for. They're looking for their ancestry. They're trying to figure out where they come from, and we take what we have for granted. I mean, yes, our parents went out of the country to go look for opportunity. When my dad, and I guess Nigeria was still good at the time. When my parents lived in the UK, when they were giving my dad citizenship, he was like, you know, I don't know, they need
Way
me at home,
back.
whatever. Way back when. And like, what am I going to do with it? But because his children were born over there, so they got citizenship, but he never took it. Later down the road, when Nigeria started turning downwards the way it did, he was like, if only he had taken it. Yes, there's a sense of slight regret there, but he would not change anything he did for anything. All of that said, you say you're stuck. I will still go back to what I said. Tíwájú ò bá ṣe é lọ, ẹ̀yìn á ṣe é padà
Can
sí.
you interpret that?
If you're not, if there's no pathway forward, you can look back and still at least see how you came here. You can always retrace your
Adaptation,
steps.
pragmatism, adaptation,
At,
flexibility.
exactly. At the end of the day, I think it comes down to pride. And what would people say about me? People
Shame.
worry so much, yes. But a lot of the shame is not because it's all perception. Because guess what? The Joneses that you're worrying about don't have time to think about you. They got issues going on. They have things they need to worry about. They don't have time for you. They need to put food on the table. So they really don't care about what's going on with you.
Mm.
So you're here stressing yourself about what would people say? Oh, she went this and he did that and whatnot, and this happened and that happened. But at the end of the day, what works for you? You put you first, irrespective of what people would say. I know there are family influences, there peer pressure, and all of that could happen. But what works for you? If it works for you here, fine. You want to stay, all well and good. But that does not give you the right to badmouth Nigeria.
Talking down Nigeria all the time.
Talk down Nigeria. It does not give you that right. If you say this is where you want, you're welcome to do so and say this is where you want to be. That's your choice. But do not talk down Nigeria. You can never hear Americans. I mean, at the end of the day, they will tell you, God bless America.
God bless
Why
America.
can we not take that on as a people? Like going back again to what I said about the fact that, I mean, when I started getting more involved in communities in Nigeria, is every time I go back, I'm like, okay, ojojumo, I come and people say there's something that Nigeria is this, Nigeria is this, Nigeria is bad, Nigeria is that. But every time I go home, there's something new, there's something different. It's not the same way it was when I came.
People are killing it over there.
Exactly. People are doing things. And things are happening. It may not be at the pace we wanted, but the other side of the coin is they want, like you just said, you want the omelet without cracking the egg. You want the lifestyle of the foreign country without necessarily paying the dues it takes to have that, because you have to be law abiding to begin to do that. You have to be able to pay your dues, both physically, financially, mentally, and being a social responsible person. Yeah, you have to be able to do it overall. And if you're not willing to do that, then you cannot ask for what you're looking for. So in the case of Jakbada, if you want to Jakbada, I'm all for it. Like I said, I have my timetable of when I'm Jakbadaing. That one is a given. From way from time immemorial, I think as far back as 2005, I've been telling my husband we need to move back home. We need to move back home.
2000,
But as it is, I'm
wow,
sorry.
2005.
Yes, as far back as 2005, when my oldest son was barely about just about a year old. And I've been telling him way back then, like, dude, there's opportunities back home. There are things you can do back home that you don't need as much funds to begin. Like you can just start little. I've seen some videos of some Nigerian farmers who are making huge difference in the food provision, as well as they're making money for their own family. But if you ask, what did they start with? I saw a pig farmer the other day. How much he started his pig farm with just 250,000 naira,
Yeah, and they are doing great.
and he's now one of the biggest supply of pork to all these companies who make sausages and whatnot.
I'm really you got me captivated by your submission. Uh, I do not like to interrupt you, but we want to get as much as possible in. Um,
Yeah, go ahead.
and just the other side of the coin is that for I said some people are killing it. We definitely
Mhm.
know that the ratio of those people who are killing it, I mean, the country is tough for the most
Mhm.
part, and for most
Yeah,
people, we have to
for
acknowledge
the
that
larger,
only,
yeah.
yeah, for
Mhm.
the larger population, only a few people are just, making well. It's really tough out there. So just to acknowledge.
Mhm.
Now, I will, okay, this question this way. Let me put it this way. How has it been parenting in the US? You were raised in Nigeria. Now you have the UK side of you. And I still have a couple of questions to cover, and I don't like to interrupt you, but help me to compact it. Why did you chuckle? What is the English of what you just did? Parenting
I mean, parenting in the US, I mean, for me,
diaspora
I
generally,
didn't,
based on the difference in culture and
well, yeah, in diaspora, yes. Initially, for me, I didn't give a hoot to where I was. The fact is, this is what is right and this is what is wrong. This is where you come from. I'm not talking about physical coming from. I'm talking about the thought process, the school of thought. You take responsibility for your actions. You do the right thing. I mean, as far back as when my kids were like five, my older ones were like 5 and 3, I started making them say to themselves every morning, they have their confessions they have to make every morning. I am a problem solver. I do the right thing at the right time. I do the important things first. I focus and I pay attention. I make a difference where I go. I like they know. I mean, my parenting, let me just back it up without, these are all things that makes me very passionate that you're asking about. So I tried, based on what I know and how I was raised, I instilled that into them during COVID. And I asked my kids at the time, then my older one was in, I think, mid-teens, early teens, and middle one was about the same, they're just a couple of years apart. And I asked them, do you guys think I'm tough? Like, do you think I'm hard on you guys? And they looked at each other and they looked at me and said, Mom, do you really want an answer to that question? I'm like, if I didn't, I wouldn't ask. I'm
hmm,
just asking because I mean, I kind of sat down and I thought about it because I know of other families who are not as hard. But I won't say I was hard, but I was strict. Like
strict, firm.
if you're going somewhere, if I give you permission to go somewhere, if you're going to leave that place, you need to text me or call me and let me know you're leaving. I need to know where you are. And we live in a predominantly Caucasian area. So, sir, as much as I don't want to, I call all my sons sirs, as much as I don't want to play that card of color, it is a reality of where we live in. So I need to be able to speak for you, defend you, and protect you. So I asked them, am I hard? And they go, yeah, you kind of are. I'm like, okay, because their friends tend to laugh at them like, oh, it's time to call your mom. You're not going to a friend's house. You have to give me their phone number, their parents' phone number, and the address. I need to know where you are, kind of thing. But the flip side of that
Bookie,
is,
Bookie, wait, were you a teacher in your past life? They have to give you
hey, Ali,
teachers,
so
their
I
parents' phone
have
number and
to.
other things, not just calling
Yes,
you,
because
texting you.
it's not just them, because these are all underage. They can get into stupidity. I need to know the parents of who my kids are dealing with so that we can coordinate. Like they're trying to like, oh, I'm going to such and such. Has the parents accepted for you to come?
Hmm.
Are they on board? Are you just going to be an imposition onto their family for the time you're there? And I call the parent or text the parent, hey, this is such and such. Such and such's mom. He's friends with your son and he's saying he's coming. Is that okay? Did they talk to you about it? It's like, oh yeah, we know about that, fine, let's go. So we have the contact. We know the I know the last place you were. If anything happens, go for it. Don't Jerry go to
I
that.
have to finish. You want to finish your thoughts? Because I almost wanted to interject for a reason, but finish your thoughts. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the flip side of what I was trying to say is, as much as they thought I was being strict, and in my opinion, honestly, compared to my mother's upbringing, I was relaxed. But for them, I was still strict. So, but the flip side of it is every time they both played football, every time I went to their school and I participated as a member of the board of their booster clubs, every time we go into school for function and things like that, I always get it. Like, oh my goodness, your sons are so this, your sons are so good. They're this, they're that, they're, oh my God. Like, my middle one, when he was graduating last year, we went for a banquet for his choir. And one of the parents actually came to me and she was like, he is the best human being I've ever known.
Oh,
And I'm
gee.
like, eh? Jesus
OMG.
shield. It's like,
Proud mom.
I'm like, at that moment, I'm like, I'm grateful and I'm thankful. But in the time when we're molding, it wasn't easy. Even now, as tall as they are, sometimes they do certain things, and I'm like, when the oldest one, when he's trying to like always measure himself, look, I'm almost your height. I'm almost when he got to my, I'm like, bro, you can be my height, you can be taller than me, but guess what? I will still slap you into yesterday if you try any stupidity. My belt is still available.
I
There's nothing you're going to do about it.
I try to avoid asking you directly this I wanted to use I didn't want to use the word spank or whatever, just wanted to ask the disciplinary process. But let me quickly take you out of there into another zone here. Yeah, let me ask it this way. Culture shock.
Mhm,
Your
mhm,
parenting style, you said you were
mhm,
strict, but not as strict as your mom.
mhm,
Now, I brought a guest here. He's from Cote d'Ivoire. He's been
mhm,
here in America for is it 19 years or something like I'm not too sure again, but for a long
mhm,
time, he's married
mhm,
with family. I mean, I'm still going to get to that interracial marriage. And this
mhm.
guy said that some of our children are going to go back to Africa someday and they will look like strangers.
Yes, I
Sometimes I
heard
pity
that.
our children. Do you know a lot of parents? We're talking about people with means, and some of them
Mhm,
travel here
mhm.
because some people have the mentality that they are giving their children a better future.
A better
How?
life.
Because it was
Mhm,
becoming a norm after the first degree over there in Nigeria. People sometimes ship their children over to the,
mhm,
the diaspora for master's
mhm.
degree, and sometimes the children just stay and
Okay,
start
so,
life there.
mhm,
Now, some of these children, they are victims of the trend in our country. They come
mhm,
here, they some of them experience their life there. Some people were born here. Now, even those that are born here, they have to cope with parents that were raised in a different environment. And
mhm,
they are actually born here. All they know is here. And
mhm,
they reflect the environment. They go to school with people that are here that looks like them and don't look like them. It's a different
mhm.
culture here. And the parents have their own culture, no matter how Americanized they are, or Britishized, or Australianized,
Or
or
whatever. Mhm,
Canadianized they are. So
mhm,
I mean, sometimes it's like we may not even understand where those children are because they are just
mhm,
somewhere in the middle of the spectrum. We
mhm,
want them to at least get the most of our culture and then
Mm-hmm.
they do not have also to be misplaced or to be, how will I put it, to be strangers in the environment where they are even planted.
Mm-hmm.
They do not, I don't know which word to use. So it's like hard on them because we have
It
expectations,
is.
and they don't
It
have to be
is.
misfits here as well. Where do they find the balance?
Mm-hmm.
We are trying, let me use the Nigerian word or African word,
Mm-hmm.
we're dragging them this way, and the environment or all the influences. I want them to be the
Yeah,
best
don't
here.
blame
They
it.
can't be the
Mm-hmm.
best here being exactly the way we are raw
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
What's
One
your
one thing I've found, thank you for that question. One thing I've found, or I try to, or I hope, because I don't know, and I do talk to my kids. I try because I tell them all the time, I need to understand your thought process. I want to understand you. I want to know what you think versus me just making assumptions. Yes, we live in the same household, but that doesn't mean I know you. So I want to know you and understand where your thoughts are coming from. On one hand, I try. So me talking about interracial, we're gonna go there in a little bit. But I didn't marry a Nigerian. My husband is Ghanaian, so we don't speak, which
you
hurts my
Nigerian?
heart.
You're Nigerian.
I'm
Your
Nigerian.
husband,
My husband's Ghanaian.
your husband is Ghanaian. Wow.
Yes. So it hurts my heart. That's one of the biggest regrets I have. I started teaching them in Yoruba. I started speaking to them in Yoruba. My husband initially was like, Professor, why would he speak to them that I'll confuse them? I'm like, sir, my bachelor's is in linguistics. I can tell you this is the best. You can teach them 20 languages now and they'll learn everything independent. But, sometimes people have their personal preference and how they want to handle situations. So that is one of the biggest things I know that hurts
And did
my
he did
heart.
he did he try? Did he start trying with his own?
Not then, no.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he started not he starts he started over the last few years, which is good, right? It's still better than nothing because I
Continue.
would now sit him down. Okay, so how do you say this word in your language? And my youngest, I think about a week or so ago, my husband and I were going back and forth on how alphabets are in his language versus my language. And he came and was like, Mom, teach me your alphabet. And I literally ABDA, I wrote it, the whole thing down for him. And then he was like, can you say it one by one? And he wrote under each letter the phonetic pronunciation that would help him remember how it's said.
Okay.
So that was a beginning. I mean, I speak Yoruba, they know Timba, somebody but Timba. They know that whatever comes after
Nothing is
that one is
coming.
not a good it's not a good thing. And they eat Niger food. I mean, most of the time I always cook Niger food. My oldest for that one, he's American in black man's clothes.
Sorry,
He
let me take
prefers
you back
American.
to balancing the culture shock issue. Sorry to
Right.
disrupt.
So culture, no, that's fine. So the culture, so the thing for me is we try to give them liberty to some degree because yes, they're not in the same environment as where we grew up in. It can be very frustrating because if only you know people who would like to be in your shoes because they're so laid back, they take things for granted and this and all that kind of thing that we would look at. I'm like, well, I understand that you're in this society and you have to function in this society. You have friends and people in this society that you need to work with, but we will still teach you as much of our culture as possible. So I mean, there's no day in this household that there's not a Nigerian movie or Yoruba movie or something that they would not watch. In this household, there's that day hasn't happened. If I'm not home, yes, but if I'm home, there's no way that wouldn't happen. So I try to we take them home as often as possible just so they see. And from when they were little, I've always told them as much as you grow and as much as you learn, understand and remember you are from here and from there. And I need you to go back there and do something, make a
Question,
difference. Mhm.
question, ma'am. Now you're married to a Ghanaian, you're a Nigerian, and when you talk of home, do you just have one leg, or is one leg Ghana, one leg Nigeria, or
No,
you
they
guys
know
have
they know both
consolidated?
places.
Oh, okay,
They
good.
know both places. They've been to both and they know the
Okay,
families from both
great.
and they have connections with both.
Awesome.
So either or, and Nigeria is not that far from Ghana, so they can always
Fantastic.
just adjust.
I'll have,
So we try,
okay.
but there's
All
a
right.
whole lot of room for improvement.
Thank you.